The entire premise of your discussion, Don, is Steve Bannon's an anti-Semite. I think we've proven that to be false because Evan can't defend it, Kurt can't defend it, Anna can't defend it, and it's not true.
I don't think we put that myth to bed. I think that's still a question about it. Just because you say it, it doesn't mean that he's not. And I don't know that he is, but he certainly traffics in it when he says.
He made a business of it.
Yes.
He certainly did not. You guys can't throw out lies like that and ask me to prove a negative when you can't even prove the positive. The suggestion is that Breitbart is a white nationalist website. We've disproved that. The suggestion is that Steve Bannon. Yes, we have. You cannot name what you have not named. You've had a lot of time to do research, and you haven't come up with one white nationalist article at Breitbart.
Well, you'll recognize that fella on the right as Joel Pollak, our buddy at Breitbart.com. You may not recognize the other people there. The fella on the far left was Don Lemon, a CNN host, and the other two were never Trumpers, including Evan McMullen. The subject of the discussion was Stephen Bannon, who was an executive with Breitbart.com until a few months ago when he joined to help manage the Donald Trump campaign, and now he's been appointed senior White House counsel to Donald Trump, a very powerful and influential position. Well, the left and the never Trump right have freaked out, calling him a white nationalist and an anti-Semite. Well, let's talk to a Jew who worked for this alleged anti-Semite. Now let's go to Joel Pollak, who joins us now via Skype. Joel, great to see you. I visited your offices there in LA at Breitbart HQ. You were kind enough to give me a quick tour. For a den of anti-Semites, you know, I don't mean to point out things, but there sure are a lot of Jews there for an anti-Semitic office.
Yeah. Well,
what a bunch of baloney.
I took attendance. I took racial attendance, which is what we do every morning here at Breitbart News. And we have 3 Jews in the office, 1 black person, and 1 Hispanic person. So we have no other people, and I'll be sure to apologize to the white nationalist auditors who visit us on a regular basis to make sure that we are fulfilling our white male quota because we really missed it today. And, I'll do better next time.
You know, it's so funny. Of course, your colleague Adele Nazarian of Breitbart.com is coming on our Rebel Cruise starting this weekend. And she is a threefer that Steve Bannon allegedly hates. She's a woman. He surely hates her because he's a sexist. She's Persian, of Iranian extraction. He surely hates her for racial reasons. And of course, she's Jewish. So that, I don't know how she managed to sneak in and get a job at the white nationalist Breitbart.com. I don't mean to single you out or Adele out or anyone else. I'm just saying it is so incredible that, the word Breitbart, it's named after a Jew, Andrew Breitbart, who wasn't just a Jew, he was a Zionist Jew. The fact that CNN, even after they lost the election, can't let go of their narrative that Trump is a racist, those around him are racist. Trump's own kids are Jews. His daughter Ivanka converted, and yet they call him an anti-Semite. These people are crazy. That's crazy or just, or what? I mean, surely Don Lemon's not stupid. But what's going on here, Joel?
Well, this is the media's tantrum after the election. They still cannot accept defeat. That they threw all of the stuff they're throwing now at Steve and at Trump during the election. There's absolutely nothing new. There's no new information. This all came out when Steve Bannon went to work for Trump in August. So there's nothing new here. It didn't work during the election. And now that Steve's found a position in the administration, that's the only thing that's changed. And frankly, he's earned it, not because he was loyal to Donald Trump, but because he was successful for Donald Trump. He came into the campaign in mid-August at one of the lowest points of the campaign, and he and Kellyanne Conway built that campaign back up, put discipline in place, focused on the issues, got Trump through the debates, managed to get out the vote effort. I mean, you can go through the list. It goes on, and they pulled off the greatest political upset in American history. Now, why wouldn't you want someone like that working in the White House? I don't care if you're a Democrat. Wouldn't you want someone who's cool under pressure and can do what's right for the country in a pinch in the White House? Wouldn't you want someone like that advising your president? You know, everybody interprets things in partisan terms nowadays, but there are crises, believe it or not, that face the country that have nothing to do with party. we are going to, because we always do, we're going to face national security threats in the next few years. And Steve Bannon, a former naval officer who has seen the Trump campaign through thin and through thick, is going to be there, and he's calm under pressure. I know him very well from working closely with him at Breitbart. He can be argumentative, he can be combative, but he always listens to contrary views when they're based on fact and when they're based on data. He's got vision, he's got discipline and drive, and he expects excellence from those around him. That's the kind of person you want doing the toughest job in the country.
You know what? I'm so glad you did that, because I am still, in my own way, refighting the campaign, and CNN certainly wants to do that. And Evan McMullen, I'm surprised his 15 minutes of fame aren't up already. They want to relitigate the campaign, and I want to in my own way, but you've moved on to, well, okay, we've got a president now, and although there is a political and a partisan and a campaign aspect that remains, in 2 months' time, he's going to be making decisions on economics, on foreign affairs, on national security. And you're right. You want a guy who keeps his cool when things are tough. Put aside right-wing, left-wing, alt-right, never Trump, whatever. Do you want a guy who is an executive who has the ear of the president and can give good counsel? That's not even about right-wing, left-wing. That's about the chief executive officer of the country succeeding by having a sound counsel next to him. You know what? I don't think anyone in the establishment, Joel, is thinking about what's good for the country. I mean, I see liberal pundits saying, I want Trump to fail. What they're really saying is, I want the 60 million Americans who voted for him to fail because I'm so mad they didn't agree with me. They're actually putting their partisan emotions ahead of the nonpartisan success of the country, don't you think?
Well, they're just echoing what Rush Limbaugh said 8 years ago. But what Rush Limbaugh meant was that given that Obama's policies are basically socialist, he wants those policies to fail. And they did fail. Obamacare is a complete failure. It's imploding as we speak. So what they're saying is they want Trump to fail, but they're not saying it because Trump has promised to do things with which they disagree. They simply want their power back. They lost, the media lost, and they are throwing a tantrum. There are riots in the streets. That light going out is not a riot. That's just my eco-friendly, energy-saving system we have here somehow at the office. But there are riots in the streets. They're rejecting the results of a Democratic election. And this is their way of doing it, is by targeting the incoming administration, not giving it a chance, and, of course, making targets out of us. Their real targets are the American people, of course, who committed the ultimate sin of throwing the Democrats out of power. Yeah. Well, here, I want to ask a question because, of course, Steve Bannon is an aggressive, brass-knuckle conservative fighter like Breitbart.com's signature. That's your style. That's why we are so affectionate towards you, because we like your style. At the same time, Trump appointed Reince Priebus, who couldn't be a more establishment guy. So it's almost like the Lincoln-style team of rivals, a yin and a yang. That's actually a thoughtful way of balancing things. Give me a guess or a hunch of the kind of cabinet appointees and other senior appointments that Trump is going to make. Is he going to have other radicals in there, like, for example, someone who will extricate the United States from the global warming conference, someone who will extricate the U.S. from some of the war on oil and gas, the war on fracking? Will you find someone who's going to say, we've got 4, maybe 8 years, let's pull some bad things out by the root, which would probably offend some congressional Republicans like Paul Ryan. Are you going to have some radicals, or is it going to be more the Reince Priebus side of things? I think you'll have both, but I think so far his appointments have been people who have succeeded. I mean, look at Reince Priebus. He took over after 2010, and he was given a good head start by Michael Steele, who presided over the party during the Tea Party wave. But Reince Priebus built the party up. They took the Senate back in 2014. They ran a fantastic ground operation in 2016 and won the presidency. So as far as Reince Priebus is concerned, and as far as one might evaluate his 6 years at the helm of the Republican National Committee, he's been a big success. Look at the mess on the other side. Debbie Wasserman Schultz getting thrown out, Donna Brazile in crisis over there. They've lost and lost and lost again. Without Barack Obama helping them, they don't seem to be able to manage. Republicans control so many state legislatures right now that it's one state away from being able to amend the Constitution simply on a party line vote in each state. So this is a huge failure for the Democrats, a big success for Reince Priebus. And you're going to have people who succeed through different methods. I mean, as head of the Republican National Committee, Reince's main job was fundraising and managing. Now he's going to have a slightly different role. Steve Bannon, of course, coming from the media website. But these are times that demand people with different experiences and different outlooks. I do think they'll work together well because the other thing they all have in common is a love of country. And I think that they're going to band together and do what's right for America at the end of the day.
You know what? I know we've got to let you go, and I know you're a busy guy, but I just want to ask one more question about Breitbart. We follow you. We have connections with not just Breitbart in LA, but we've talked to your colleagues in London. For example, Raheem Kassam used to be the boss over there, Simon Kent. We have other friends in Breitbart. And I think Breitbart really helped provide factual information, or as we say up here, the other side of the story, to the mainstream media. I mean, your numbers were spectacular. And I don't say that just to praise you. I say it was an important factor getting around the extreme bias in the mainstream media. It was only through WikiLeaks, for example, we found out that CNN was actually secretly giving questions to Hillary Clinton in advance of her debates. Like we needed an alternative source of information. Do you think Trump and Bannon will continue to foster not only Breitbart, but other alternative media to go around the press cartel? And do you see Breitbart expanding maybe even into other places that need the help? France, Germany, Holland, Sweden, who knows? Maybe even up here in Canada.
Right. Well, I do think Breitbart's going to expand. I don't think it's a new thing for presidents to go to alternative media. Remember, Barack Obama gave exclusive interviews to YouTube stars and to disc jockeys in remote parts of the country. The Obama White House specialized in that. They went where their audience was. So that wouldn't be a new thing. But I do think that once you're in the White House, you've also got the larger press to deal with. So you can't really write off the press corps in quite so breezy a manner. I think that Donald Trump, who has dealt masterfully with the media throughout the campaign, even though it's been a very combative relationship, will probably work with media outlets of all kinds. We hope to be there too. And we'll see. What we have benefited from is not special access to power, but we have benefited from a willingness to go out there and get stories that other people aren't interested in. When we were at the New Hampshire rally before the election, on the eve of the election, we reported what Donald Trump was doing, which is making an outreach to working class voters for the first time that any Republican had done so since Ronald Reagan. The rest of the media was largely focused on whether or not a letter from the New England Patriots head coach was in fact authentic that Trump had read at that rally. So it just tells you, you don't have to be so privileged in terms of access to get the story sometimes. Sometimes you just have to open your eyes and see what the American people are experiencing. And our mainstream media simply haven't learned to do that yet.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that's our view, too, up here at The Rebel. I think that's why we see a connection with Breitbart. Well, we wish you well, and we hope that we can replicate Breitbart's example up here in Canada. And who knows, maybe one day take back our instruments of power, make Canada great again. Joel, thanks for taking the time with us today.
Thanks for being with me.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of The Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.